Hello everyone, Reds here. This is a complete beginner's guide for the game Final Fantasy XIV. This guide is for the people who have never played Final Fantasy XIV or new to this type of games in general. So, if you are already familiar with tap targeting MMORPGs and just want to know about Final Fantasy XIV, please bear with me. I will try to cover everything I think you should know to start your journey in Eorzea without confusion and with confidence. I will give you just enough information to get you started. I won't be giving away any part of the story nor talk about any class guide in this video. I am making this video during the Endwalker expansion, so if in the future they go through any major changes, I will make an updated video, but I think that's quite far in the future. If you are new to Final Fantasy XIV or tap targeting MMORPG in general, I suggest you grab a drink and settle in. This might be a long video because we have a lot to cover. During editing, I realized if I were to put everything I wanted to share in my beginner's guide, it will be a very long video. So I will be releasing the guides part by part. In this part of the video, we will be talking about data centers, character creation, and a basic introduction to the starter classes. Now, the base game of Final Fantasy XIV, also known as The Realm Reborn, came out in 2013 and has received some major expansions expanding the story and the world. The expansions are Heavensward, Stormblood, Shadowbringer, and the latest one, Endwalker. For the free trial, you will be able to play through the base game, The Realm Reborn, and the award-winning first expansion, Heavensward, to its entirety, which makes your level cap at level 60. But if you want to play through the entire so far story, you will have to pay for the latest expansion, for now it's Endwalker, which will give you the other expansions in between, and from there on you will have to buy a monthly sub in order to keep playing. So if this is your first time playing this kind of game, I suggest you try the game on free trial first and see if this is the game for you. Now, you have downloaded the game, made a Square Enix account, and have successfully logged in and started the game. The first thing you will see is the data center selection page. Data centers represents region. You can select any data center you want, but if you have friends you will be playing with, talk to them and choose the same data center, and choose the data center carefully, as you cannot take your created character from one data center to another. And I do suggest to select the same data center and the same world, which are servers, so you can be together all the way. Now, once the data server is selected, you will see an empty character selection screen. For me, there's a character because I have a character, but for you, it's probably going to be empty. On top right corner, you will see two options, World and New Character. You can select the world now, but the game will ask you again to select the world after you're done with your character creation, so don't worry about it right now. So, now you click on Create New Character, get started with your character creation. Remember, in Final Fantasy XIV, it doesn't matter which race or gender you select. These are completely cosmetics and does not affect your stats in any way. If you are on free trial, however, you will notice that you cannot choose Hrothgar and Viera race. Among other free trial limitations, this is one of them. Now, before you get started with your character creation, let me just tell you, female Miko is the best race in the game. When you are done customizing your character, the game will ask you to select a class. Now, let me walk you through this. Class selection. The classes in this game are divided into two different damage types, Disciple of War and Disciples of Magic. Disciples of War does physical damage, where Disciples of Magic does magic damage. The classes can play three different roles, also known as the Holy Trinity: Tank, Healer, and DPS. There are more classes, or jobs as the game calls them, in this game, and yes, you can switch your job at any time you want. We will talk about that, but in a future video. Now, the classes you can choose at the start are as follows. In the Disciples of War, we have Gladiator, Pugilist, Marauder, Lancer, and Archer. And in the Disciples of Magic, we have Conjurer, Thaumaturge, and Arcanist. Now, let me give you a TLDR of the classes. Gladiator is a shield-using tank class. The job, it is known as Paladin. Pugilist is a punching close-range DPS. The job is known as the Monk. Marauder is a axe-wielding tank. The job, it's known as Warrior. Lancer is a spear-wielding close-range DPS. The job is known as Dragoon. Archer, bow user, long-range DPS. The job is known as the Bard. And yes, you need to take this job in order to play music in this game. Disciples of Magic, Conjurer is a healer class. The job it is known as the White Mage. Thaumaturge is a long-range DPS. The job is known as Black Mage. Arcanist. Arcanist is an interesting class. It starts as a range DPS, but it will level up into two different jobs, Scholar and Summoner. Scholar, which is a healer class or healer job, and Summoner, which is a range DPS. Now, you can pick whichever class sounds interesting to you, but if you want my suggestion, then I would say if this is your first time playing this game or tap targeting game, I suggest to choose a DPS class, as tank and healer is kind of an important role, and you have to remember this is an MMORPG, so your performance will affect others in dungeons or raids. So if this is your first time playing, you can go in and learn. While you're playing as DPS, you can learn from what other tanks and healers are doing, and then in the future you can pick on those roles and perform from your experience. Also, if you look bottom left, you will see which city that class will start in. So if you are playing with a friend and you don't want to pick the same class, you might want to check that one out. But it's not a big deal. Right after your level 15 quest, your quest will become the same, so it will be until then you won't be able to play together. Even though I just said which class is which, I'll still put the list on the screen right now so you can see and pick a class you want. Now, if you still want a specific class from me, I would suggest go with the Arcanist. There are reasons why I'm suggesting Arcanist. The shortest explanation is that it's a very simple class to learn, and you are gonna have an easier time playing as a summoner. If you are sticking with DPS, and the Scholar, the healer class, that the healer job the Arcanist will evolve into, is also pretty simple, at least until level 80, but we'll worry about that later. So once you're done selecting your class, click confirm. Now the game will ask you again to select the world. If the game chose the wrong world to the one you wanted to go in, you can simply reselect it. But if you did choose the right one, just simply click yes. And once you select the world, the game will ask you to name your character, because that is the most important part. For me, I'm just gonna go with randomized, and we're just gonna fast forward this. And once you're done naming your character, the game will ask you if you want to begin a new game with this character, and you just simply click OK. and the game will put you in the game. Psych is gonna put you in a queue. Okay, don't worry, the queues are not that long. So once you're done with the queue and you're finally in, you will see a cutscene. You'll see a cutscene to, as a, I guess you can say, intro video for the game. This is mostly a dream you're having, but I'm not gonna go into much detail. I'm gonna skip this so you can experience it on your own. And now finally, welcome to Eorzea, or in this case the game will welcome you to the city you are in. Right now we are in Limsa, so the game is welcoming you in Limsa. So whenever you're in game for the first time ever, the game will ask you to choose your controls, mouse and keyboard or gamepad. I'm using mouse and keyboard, so we're gonna go with mouse and keyboard. But do not worry, you can change it at any time you want from the settings easily. And this is the end of this video. The next part should be published, so you can go check it out right now. I will also try to put everything in a playlist if I can. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next part.